of the Profitable Christian Business. I am so pleased to have my friend Jennifer Aaliyah with me today. Jennifer is a master marketer. She's going to show us a little bit about how to make your business more profitable through marketing and things of that nature. We're going to get into her faith journey. She's has a very interesting life. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how her faith is interwoven through everything that she does. Um, but without further ado, Jennifer, if you don't mind giving a brief introduction.
Yes, so I am a marketing strategist, which means that I help businesses to create systems and a foundation for your marketing so that you know what is going on, it works for you, and everything you do has a job. So I don't teach you the latest hacks or tricks. I don't only concentrate on one platform, but I create that structure so that everything that you're doing works together and it makes it more profitable. It makes it easier to run. It saves you tons of time and money. And it just makes it something that happens as part of your business instead of it just constantly hanging over your head like, I need to do marketing. Um,
That is awesome. We're going to dive into a lot of that. But I like to start off each interview with just some casual getting to know you questions because um, I'm all about know, like, and trust. People like to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So the more that we can establish some of that, so people get to know you a little bit more, whoever's watching this, and they're like, she's a pretty cool gal. I want, I want to her to help me with my marketing. So one of those things that I know about you is that you are a homesteader. You're also a gardener. My wife's a gardener, so I know a little bit about that. I know how to dig the holes for her that she needs. Um, and of course you run a business. So tell us a little bit about how the homesteading life is for you.
well, it's busy, especially right now. We live in rural South Dakota, so we have a very short season. So there's a
Mm.
lot crammed into just a few months. So it is very busy, but it's exciting. I love gardening. I love planting seeds.
You froze. Can you hear me? You were froze.
Yeah, I know. I was talking and I realized that you were there. And oh my goodness, why isn't this working? It's not like I've never done a podcast before. Like,
Same on this side, right? I've only done 100 or more. Well, I'll probably 200 or more than these. But
I don't know what the problem is. It's just Riverside is not liking me today.
yeah, if
Um,
you're watching live, this is what happens sometimes.
yeah,
So
I do.
we might just pick up. We're gonna, because this will be edited. We can just
Okay.
preserve that first part. So now that
Okay.
you're back, not frozen, let's see
Okay.
um, how
Yeah.
long we can sustain, if you will. Um,
Yeah.
so I'll just ask that question again that I just asked, and we'll preserve the intro and your introduction. So
Okay.
I'll do a
Okay.
hand countdown, if you will.
Yeah.
Five, four, three, two, one. One of the things I know about you, Jennifer, is that you are a homesteader, which I find fascinating, and you're a gardener. My wife gardens. I know a little bit, and that's like I can dig a hole for her. That's kind of what I know. Um,
Yeah.
and you're also running a successful marketing business. So all that is very interesting. But what I want to know, and maybe what the audience would love to know more about, is the whole homesteading, because a lot of people are
Yeah.
unfamiliar with that. So can you kind of talk about how that your life is around that?
Yes. So it's busy, especially right now. We're in our busiest time of the year because we have a very short season. We're in rural South Dakota, and so we need to get everything done in a short amount of time. And it's great because it gives us that connection to everything that we do. So everything is based in our home, our business, our we homeschool, um, and we get to understand how the world works. And I think that it's very important to our faith journey too, which we
Mm,
can talk about later. But having that connection to creation, um, and I just enjoy learning new skills that have been lost and preserving them. and preserving the food for my family and having a plan in advance, because I'm a planner and a strategy and systems person. But my favorite part of my day, really, that shocks me, to be quite honest, is I got a dairy goat about a year and a half ago. And so every morning and every evening, I start and end my day with milking her. And it's just a quiet time to just like decompress. And,
Mm,
we just have that quiet. She eats, I milk, and it's just like my little step away from everything
mm.
that I can try to kind of like decompress my mind. Like, it's a very soothing thing. It seems like it wouldn't be, but it's just something that I get to enjoy every day. And there are times when my kids have to milk for me for whatever reason, and I always miss that I didn't get to do it. So,
That is so cool.
yeah.
Um, the whole getting back, like getting into nature. So there's a couple things. Normally we don't go too deep in these getting to know you questions, but we're going to go just a little deep here. Um, the whole getting, I like to do that as well, and I don't get to do it often enough. Is getting out in nature to communicate with God. I feel like it's not necessarily true, but I just feel a closer connection when I'm out in nature, and looking at
Yeah.
his creation, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's just so wonderful. I imagine you feel that way too when you're um, doing that sort of thing.
Yes, it's still, I've been a gardener for, I don't even know, at least 15 years or more. And it still amazes me that you take this little seed and you put it in the ground and it grows and makes sense. It's always like, wow, I can't believe that worked. And so, every morning there's eggs, and every morning and every evening there's milk. And just the fact that, you put it, I just put eggs in the incubator, and like we're going to have ducklings in like a month. It just, it's so fascinating to realize how intricate all of it is. Um, and how it all works really despite us. Like seeds grow. I mean, I fertilize and weed and all of that stuff, but really it's all designed to work without us having to mess with it at all. And it's just very exciting to get to see every day.
That brings me to the all the verses about anxiety in the
Mm-hmm.
Bible, because we get so anxious for things, and God,
Yes.
all you have to do is step out and watch how nature's working. It's just out there working.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
You can get comfortable knowing that God is in control when you
Mhm.
envision it that way. There is a time
Yeah.
and a season, right? In gardening, and sometimes we're trying to get things out of season, right?
Yes.
We're wanting something, but we're not ready for that thing that God has for us.
Yeah.
So many good ways to
Yeah.
use nature to think about the way God provides.
Yes. And there definitely is a deep faith part of it. I was talking to my son about it the other day. He runs a small scale regenerative operation, and it's hard. Like, you have these plans, but then you can only control so much.
Mhm.
And I said to them, this is why farmers are known to have deep faith, because you have to have faith. You have to realize that you can't control the weather, you can't control what happens to your animals, like predators or things eating your plants, or there's so many things beyond your control, and you just have to have faith that it all is going to work out, and faith that whatever happened, like you can find a way to solve it, or like there's something better that's going to come. And
Mhm.
so there are those nights of praying for rain and praying for like predators not to attack. And it's very much a deepening faith journey, because it's not a guarantee. When you go to the grocery store, for the most part you expect there to be milk and eggs and butter, and
Mhm.
you know where it is. But here, even though we sit down in February and plan out everything that we're going to grow and all the food that we want to have and what we're going to do with it, like the plan is great, but there's so much out of your control that a lot of it is just prayer and hope.
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
and you can't plan beyond that. So um, it is a humbling experience that's very powerful.
Oh, I love all that, and I will just say I'm a little envious. We have a small garden.
Uh-huh.
If my wife had more time, our backyard would look like something very elaborate.
Yes.
It's a good sized garden. It's not like where she wants it,
Yes.
um,
It never
but
is.
yeah, I feel that way. Like every time we go to somewhere where they're selling plants, there's never enough plants that she can
Yes.
buy. um, but being able to eat whole foods, right? We eat what we get from the garden, but we would
Hmm.
love to have kind of more what you have. Like almost, I'm sure almost everything you put on your plates comes from your farm, and that is just amazing.
Pretty close. Not everything. We still can't grow bananas in South Dakota.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There are some things. So, yeah, it it it's exciting also to sit there and be like, wow, like this is what our all our work amounted.
Hmm.
It's rewarding in that way.
Nice. Well, we're going to shift gears entirely from
Yes.
the homesteading to more of the marketing.
Yeah.
Is there one kind of trend that's kind of going on now, or that you've seen in the past that you kind of laugh at and roll your eyes as far as marketing goes?
I think virality. Like
Hmm.
we all feel like we need to go viral. And I'm not saying that more visibility or more views or more comments are ever a bad thing. However, I have yet to see where going viral for, I don't know, a reel or a post or whatever, because I have had some things go viral and it's great. I get some more friends, I get a little boost in my visibility, but honestly, it doesn't do much for your business. And so for business, we sometimes fall into the trap of thinking we need to be like influencers. Like influencers, virality does help them because they're getting paid by how many people view it, right? People don't really necessarily even go to the rest of their channel or know what they do, but they see this one thing and they share it and they like it and it keeps going. And the influencer makes money even if all of those people have no interest in anything else that they're doing. Whereas when you have a business and you're trying to make money off of a product in some way, just having something go viral and have people like it doesn't mean they're going to buy anything from you, because 90% of them just like that one post. And I can tell you that most of the time it's something completely random that has nothing to do with what you sell. And so, yes, it's nice to be able to say, I got, 10,000 or 100,000 or a million views or whatever it is. But if you go back and see what did that do for your bottom line, I think we take way too much time trying to chase that virality instead of trying to think, how can this content get someone to take the next step I want to?
So well said. So well
Yeah.
said. I think along the same lines, and because it's usually something not business oriented that will go viral. Like you have to, and usually it's something stupid. That people love to see silly things and funny things and things like that that often have nothing to do with your business. So
Yeah.
yes, it can help you with your visibility, but it won't necessarily bring you more clients because
No.
they're not watching. They weren't watching it for the whatever you have to provide. They were watching it for the entertainment of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh, very well said. One thing, and I think you and I can agree on this part as far as content. I think the most important part of business content is being consistent, right? To like no matter how many views you're, if you keep showing up, the consistency is going to pay off. So if you want to just provide some insights on that.
Yes. So I always tell my clients that consistency trumps volume every time. And yes, there's a place for volume, and volume does get you more visibility. However, we sometimes fall into this trap of, well, I'm going to do 50 posts this week and I'm going to post, 7 times a day, and then that works for maybe 4 days, and then you like don't do it, and then you just do 2 posts, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks went by and you didn't do anything, and then you jump. And that is actually so much worse for you than if you said, you know what, I can post 3 times a week and I'm going to post at 10 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday every single week. Because we complain about the algorithm, and there are wonky algorithms out there right now. And sometimes it does go off the rails, and you're like, I don't understand why nothing's working. It's because the algorithm shifted. But at the same time, the algorithm is something that's trained. And so if you are putting out content and it learns what type of people like your content and what you talk about and when you show up, and that you're putting out content regularly and being visible and engaging with people, you're not just throwing everything out there and then never showing up, it will serve that to more people. And so that's why when you put out more content, you get more connection requests or you get more views. It's because The algorithm's learning, hey, this is who she wants to talk to. This is what she talks about. And this are the people that she can help and, what she's doing. And so it brings those people to you as opposed to virality, like we just talked about, which just brings anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody would be interested. And we don't want anybody. We want our content to be polarizing in some way, not in a highly negative way, but that people who are like, yeah, that's not what I need, they just go someplace else because they don't need to waste their time and energy, and neither do we. And there's someone else out there who could serve them.
Man, I love how you said that is exactly how I feel too. Is that consistency is what pays off
Mm-hmm.
because it's data in. You're feeding the algorithm data on a regular basis, and in all my tests and experiences, like the more consistent I am, the more it grows,
Yeah.
and the more not just consistent in just posting, consistent in the messaging, right?
Yeah.
If you're all over with your messaging, the algorithm doesn't know who to serve it to.
Yes.
So,
and
um,
and we think we need to keep talking about new things, but we don't. You really should get bored with what you're talking about. I mean, I'm really passionate about what I talk about, but sometimes it's like, oh, I guess I should bring that up again, because statistically, only 2% of your followers will see and possibly remember what you put up. So even if you have 1 million followers, there's such a small percentage of them that are seeing it and remembering it, that if you only put that up once and you think, oh, nobody was interested, I better scrap that. Let's come up with a new plan. Like nobody signed up, nobody likes it, nobody commented. You're constantly putting new things out there. People don't have a chance to even learn what you're doing. They don't have a chance to understand like who you are and how you serve, or that you have this program, right? Because you put out 3 posts, or you did one live, and lives are great and reels are great and stories and LinkedIn and all of that. But if it's one and you think at 2%, most of us don't have 1 to 10 million followers. 2% is so small, and then only a percentage of them are even going to be interested in it at that point in time, and make the decision. So it really is important to have that consistency, and like pick one thing you want to talk, like one thing that you want people to go towards, um, maybe per quarter or per year, or even
mhm.
per month, not where every day is something different. Um, yeah, you need to test things for quite a while to evaluate that nobody's interested in it.
Yeah, and I feel like branding is important there too. Like people see the same thing over and over again, and
Mhm.
they correlate you with your brand and you
Yes.
with what you're messaging. If you can constantly, if you're very good at articulating exactly what you do and how you do it, and you say that over and over again, um, it's going to get a better response.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I heard once that the best marketing is when you can have someone come sit down with you and they can tell you your story back. And I know that
yeah.
that might be a little extreme with all the content that we have going on, but really you want people when they meet with you either face to face, or decide to opt into your newsletter or whatever it is, that they understand exactly who you are and they can tell other people what you do. Because that's still, word of mouth is still the best marketing, and it always will be.
Yeah,
So
go back to the whole know, like, and trust thing, right?
yeah.
That's another
Yes.
reason to stay consistent in your
Yeah.
content is you're getting more people
Yeah.
to know you, hopefully like you. I did so. Let's sit here for a second
Yeah.
because you did a presentation at an event we were at, and I think there was something about you don't necessarily have to have them like you. So if you could expand on that.
Yes, I said that we always say know, like, and trust,
Hmm.
but really what they have to do is trust you, because
Hmm.
there can be things that you don't know. Like someone says, hey, you have to buy this shampoo, or hey, you need to sign up for this webinar, and you just do it because, well, I really trust Doug and he said to use it, so I'm going to use it, right? And you know nothing about that company other
Hmm.
than my friend Doug says this is a great thing. The same with, like, I mean, there are things that we do where people that we follow that we know have really good advice, but we don't necessarily like them. Like we wouldn't be
Hmm.
best friends with them. We're not going to hang out on a Saturday night, and even
Yeah.
if we were to meet in real life. And I think that there are several, I guess you could say, influencers in the marketing world that I follow because I know that they know what they're doing and I trust what they're sharing, because they have consistently over the years shown that, okay, I'm not just throwing this out there so that people are going to watch it, or basing it on some latest trend. Like, I have data to back it up. I am walking the walk. I'm doing exactly what I'm teaching people to do, which is a huge thing because there are so many people not doing what they're teaching. That should be a red flag for you. um, at the same time, we have very different worldviews. Like, we have very different lifestyles. Even if we were to meet, like I said, and get to be connected, we're never going to be best friends. But I truly respect and trust what they share. And so I think that that's why trust is more important than anything. You don't have to be fun and boisterous. You don't have to be stylish. You don't have to, fit into any of those things that we feel make people like us, because they really just need to trust us. They may not like that I homestead, but they may trust my strategy. And those are the people that I want to come into my world.
Yeah. So well put. And I feel like people can get into the trap of, I've just got to get everybody to like me. No, not
Yes.
necessarily. You actually want to push some people away. If
Yes.
you want to attract the right people, and there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
some people. I've always heard like you kind of know when you've made it when you've got haters,
Yeah,
right? Uh,
you do.
so,
Yeah.
so yeah, you
And
don't need everybody to like you. They just need to trust you. Some people could have totally different values and still think that you have very sound advice. So.
yes, yes, definitely.
We have a question that we ask every single time on the Profit Christian Business Podcast, and that is our fill in the blank question. And
Okay.
your fill in the blank question, Jennifer, is a Christian entrepreneur can avoid burnout by blank.
By having systems. Like, it really all comes down
Yes.
to in your life, in your business, in your homestead. Like, it's all just systems. And whenever things feel like they're going off the rails, that's when it's time to just say, okay, you can blame the algorithm, you can cry, you can think that, like, the internet doesn't like me, and you know what, there's a place for that, and sometimes you need to just cry and, like, move on. But it really all comes down to a system. Like, why am I struggling? It's because there's not a system in place. Um and because when you're trying to do it all, like, you can't. You need something you need to have structure. If you're reinventing the wheel every day, you're never going to get anywhere. So
Yeah, it's the only way to scale. For those listening,
yes.
it's the only way to scale is putting in systems. A lot of
Yes.
people cap out because they failed to put in the systems as they
Hmm.
went along, and then they hit a plateau because now they're having to put in those systems before they can scale. Um,
Yes.
if you if you're growing your business and you're like, I wish I could make this easier. Okay, think about the system that you can put in place to make that easier, and then you're stepping up. The next step is the next process, and so on and so
Mhm.
on. We just recently in our company, we had a conversation just earlier today about, we know someone that is a client of ours that would totally bust through the roof. They have so many other great assets. They're just
Yeah.
missing a few systems. If they put those systems into place, watch out, right?
Yes. And the systems are boring, and sometimes they feel like I'm wasting time. I want to be making money, but you can't. It doesn't work. And so I have been a year ago, I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. And I put all these systems in place that really were overkill for what I was doing, quite honest. But I didn't want to get to the point where it's like, oh no, nothing's working. And now I need to try to reverse engineer it and don't have the time or capacity, or, like, people, I have all these people waiting for things to work
Mm-hmm.
and they don't work. Um, but at the same time, like, now I've reached another spot where it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. And I'm putting in systems that I can tell you, like, the transition is hard. I like what I'm doing right now, but I know it's not going to work in 6 months. And
Mm-hmm.
so I need to force myself to, like, this is a better system. Just develop the habit of using it and refine it, instead of, like, hitting the wall and realizing, oh no, like, we have no system in place to deal with this. And there's always going to be times where you're like, wow, okay, that was a hole in the system that we need to fix.
Mm-hmm.
It's never bulletproof. But when you're at least thinking about it ahead of time and you stick to your systems, I think that's a big thing, is that sometimes we have
Mm-hmm.
systems and we have processes, And then because we want people to like us, or we think, oh, this is a nice client, like I want to work with them, we skip steps
Mhm.
or we compromise like in the process. And I can tell you every single time it backfires. Every single time. And then it's like, Jennifer, what did you do? Like you had a process and you skipped it. And so I think that it's important also to have that system, because if you run into someone who doesn't want to go into the system that you have, you can either say persuade them and help them move, or if they're like, I'm just not doing it, I need to do my system, which isn't working, by the way, then you're like, you know what, I can refer you to somebody, but like this is how I make it work, and I can't make it work unless you let me help you make it work.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that that is so true. I want to leave the audience with a practical step here.
Okay.
One of the things that we help people do is through time blocking, right? Prior, like you plan out your week, you plan out your days, you plan out yours. You need to set aside some time blocking to work on systems, because if you
Yeah.
don't make it a priority, if you don't make time for it, you will not do it. You'll just continue in
Yeah.
the old broken way that you've always been doing it. So advice: look at your schedule. Maybe you take an hour or two out of the week and just review your system, see if there's anything new to implement, and get to work on getting those systems. And if you need help, like with a marketing system, know who to reach out to, like Jennifer,
Yeah.
because a lot of times it's just ignorance of not knowing the systems we need to put into place. We know something's broken, but we don't know how to fix it because we don't know what system needs to be put in place. And it all depends on what area of your business that's in, whether it's an operations or it's a marketing or it's a sales process or something like that. The person that you might need to bring in as a consultant, or to maybe even handle that side for you. So, um,
Yeah. Yes, because systems don't just happen. You need to make them happen. And it's like I said, they can be boring, they can be tedious. It's never something that you're like, oh, wow, that was amazing. It's amazing when it works, but in the process, especially when you don't necessarily know what you're doing or it's a struggle, you do need that guidance. And then it makes your life so much better on that other end. But yes, you need to block out time or it's not going to happen.
so I think this segues really nicely into our secret question. And the secret question we have for you is, what is the secret to having a profitable marketing campaign that doesn't take all of your time and energy?
It comes back to a system. It comes back to knowing, you know, when we set up marketing campaigns, it's not that we don't have a goal. I think most people have an idea in mind of what they want to happen. Like I want more leads, or I want more people to buy this product, or there's a loose goal there. The worst one is I just want more people to see me, because like more people will see you when you're doing the right thing for marketing, but that shouldn't be your goal. You don't need more people, you need the right people. Um, but when you go and say, okay, in 6 months, I want to have 10 people in this program, or I want to have scaled this to this much recurring revenue, or and it doesn't even have to be a dollar amount. It's just that I want my business to be here. Then you have to work backwards of what does that mean has to happen now, and more importantly, like what marketing message needs to go out, how often does it need to go out, how many weeks
Mhm.
in advance. And I'm telling you, you need so much more than you think you need. Like you need minimum 3 months, really. If you can have a 3 month leadway, runway, then that will work. And so the secret to not burning out is, first of all, giving yourself plenty of time and understanding that it takes time to get going. Do not give up after 3 days. Have a plan of what is going out and why it's going out and how that brings people to that destination. And then have a plan B, because not everybody's going to buy into that thing that you want to sell 10 of, but
Mhm.
they might buy into a lower ticket, or they might join a nurture sequence to get them into like the next, event or whatever. So I think those are the biggest things. When we put all our eggs in one basket and a lot of pressure on us to do something in 2 weeks, it's just designed to fail, and it's just not fair to us or our audience. Um,
Yeah, that's so. I love what you had to say in there, specifically about a runway. So often we don't give ourselves enough runway, especially if it's something brand new that we're doing, right? That we
yes.
have this vision. Oh, because I want the customers tomorrow. this needs to happen tomorrow. um, but you have
Yes.
to have a really good runway and a system, right? One thing, if I could add to that, is the importance of data, right? A lot of times
Yes.
you don't know
Yes.
because you don't know, right? So I know you're very big on this. Is once you run something, you'll get back some data, and then you'll be able to optimize off of that data. And it's very good to have someone in your corner like Jennifer, who will help you look at the data and say, okay, this is our results from that. This is how we can tweak things in order to get better results. So
Yes.
we'll love
Instead of
more insights
scrubbing it
on the
all.
data. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise you just toss it all out and say nothing worked, and
Hmm.
then you start over, and then you're constantly starting over, and you have nothing to base. Like, it is trial and error. I mean, all business is trial and
Hmm.
error, and it's a lot more failing than it is success. Like, I'm being honest. Like, that's what it is. I'm sure you would agree. But
Yep.
that failure isn't really failure unless you don't learn from it. And the only way you're going to learn from it is having that data and taking a step back and looking at what is working, what isn't working, and possibly meeting with an expert that can tell you there's a hole right here that you're missing. Because that's generally what it is. It's
Yep.
just a hole that you're missing.
Yeah. Sometimes you try to skip a step, uh, or something else that made it all go
Yeah.
awry. Um, what do you feel like the biggest mistake a lot of businesses make when they overcomplicate their marketing?
They're putting too much time and resources into it, and then not the time and resources into the actual client acquisition. So they're
Mm,
putting so much time into their content or engaging with other accounts or whatever they're doing that they feel is important, but then they don't have a sales system. Like, if you have a marketing system, you need a sales system. If
mhm,
you have marketing out there, you need to be have time that you can meet with people, that you can have conversations with them, that there's some sort of follow-up. You can't just say, well, how the marketing do it for me. No, you need to be selling, and
mhm.
marketing needs sales, sales needs marketing. um, and so I think trying to rush that and just focus on the content is like they start with the content instead of starting with the plan of what's this content going to do. But also they try to skip steps. So they want to shortcut things. I see an influencer doing this and they went viral, so I'm going to go viral. Or I hear that ads are like really great and they're going to get me all these clients and I can have 100,000 people see what I'm doing in one day for $20. It never works that way, by the way. Um, but ads only work when everything else is working. Everything is built on top of itself. So if you're at this point that you're still trying to clarify your message and you're like, you know what, I'm going to dump money into ads, it's not going to work because the algorithm hasn't been figured out who you're serving. You don't have a message dialed in that people understand what it is, and you haven't tested any of your systems to know that when someone sees that ad, now they're going to get put into a nurture sequence, or they're going to get invited to this, or they're going to book a call with you, or whatever it is. Until that can happen manually and you have spent hours doing it and you're like, okay, this is what works, you can't automate it and you can't shortcut it. Doesn't matter how great AI gets either. I'm just going to throw that out there. AI is valuable, but like it can't shortcut things because it needs to actually happen in real time for you to understand how to create a shortcut in the system for it.
Yeah, that's so good. Can we kind of peek under the hood a little bit with ads, and the
Yes.
importance of? We talked about data. A lot of kind of what you said. Some people will just go out there and throw an ad up and say, "Okay, bring me the clients." Can you talk about like the importance of testing and again analyzing the data and that sort of stuff?
Yes. So ads is a process. And I think that, I mean, I did it when I started business. I thought everybody says ads will work. You just throw an ad out there and then you spend money. And it was like, why didn't it work? I guess nobody wants my business. It's like, no, it's because you don't have that. It's like scaffolding, right? And ads has its own scaffolding. Like, it isn't just the ad, it's the whole process before and after it. So first of all, you need to have that clear message and the consistency and the audience and the trust and knowing that your systems work, and then you can start ads. But ads really is I heard someone say you have to be willing to lose money for 3 months before you make any from ads. And I think that that is really good advice, because I'm not saying that you're going to crash and burn for 3 months, but if you're not at that point that you're going to put something out and test it and have like A B testing and say this worked and that didn't work, or this audience, I got tons of people signed up for the webinar, but no one showed up and no one bought. So like, this is not my audience. Like, where you can keep refining it, it is an art and a science, and you need to, it's not just about, this comes back to AI. Like, it's helpful, right, with ads, because it can help take language that's way too wordy or vague, and it can boil it down and make it, to the point, and really help you in that way. It can generate graphics if you want them. I feel like they all look very generic, and that doesn't help. Um, but it's not like, that's not ads actually. It's just like doing marketing, where the TikToks and the reels and the articles are the last step. Like that, the creative and the copy is the last step. You need to have like the audience and the testing and the data and the systems for it to work. And that is a very complex, it's a complex setup that isn't something you can do overnight, and you need to be willing to do it for 3 to 6 months before you get it right. And it's like, okay, now this is working. Now, how do we scale this? Because sometimes like an ad doesn't work, and then you change it, and then you change it, and then you change it, and then you have 20 different ads running for 2 weeks at a time, and you never know what's working or what's not working in them, because you're just changing everything. It needs to be a very slow process based on data.
That's so good. And if I could use this analogy, and I think you might agree with me, some people hear, like, a lot of people say, well, I put $1 in ads, I get $3 back. They don't hear
Yes.
about the iceberg, the part that went into
Yes.
getting the $3 back.
Yeah.
So it's more like, it's not like an ATM, people. It's not like
No.
it is more of an investment. Think of it as investment. Sometimes you have money and it's going to produce results, not now, in the future.
Yeah.
But I think there are ways to kind of set yourself up for success. One of those is getting help from an expert, right? And then another one is doing research. A lot of people go into it and they don't even research their industry, like what has been the success rate of people in their industry with ads. You can get that kind of data, and kind of
Yeah.
know like what the benchmarks are for your industry, and try and hit those benchmarks. And yeah, so very, very good.
Yeah. And even like research, yes, you're speaking my language. I was actually originally my first degree was in poli-sci, and my minor was in history, because I just love doing research and writing papers. That was my first degree. But and then I realized I didn't really want to write papers for the rest of my life, so I have two others. But, anyway, so research is so important though, and it's so discounted, because we look at the vanity metrics of likes and comments, or maybe we will look at analytics a little bit, and we're like, oh, there's more people following me. But it takes the research. Like, you can do this the long way and just keep throwing out A/B tests and figure out what your audience responds to, or you can do the research on your audience of like, what's keeping them up at 2 a.m. What are they? What questions are they asking Google? What false beliefs do they have? Because we're experts, right? And we talk about what we're an expert in, but we don't realize that our client isn't an expert in that, and they need to hear certain things that build that trust and empower them to take that next step. And when we're too busy talking up here, and they're waiting for someone to help them take that next step, then we miss so much opportunity. So research on both ends, like research how marketing should work and how ads work and all of that, and the sales end of it, but also on the clients and the industry and the audience that you need to build is so important. You don't just want a huge audience, you want the right people, so you're speaking their language.
Yeah, I think all that plays into, we talked about having a runway, and having a runway for ads. You can shorten that runway or get a faster jet, if you do the research and maybe hire an expert to help you. So very, very, very good. We're going to transition again back to so I think this has been amazing. Like, as much as the marketing knowledge, I think somebody could take this, and there's so much application that they could do, and really get a good start with their marketing. At least especially getting in the right mindset. I think we've really helped people get in the right mindset around their marketing, and kind of see how it goes. I want to go back to some of the faith stuff, because we really haven't learned a lot about you and that journey. So how has faith, this is going to tie into marketing a little bit, how has faith influenced the way you approach marketing and serving your clients?
Well, one of the biggest things is that when I was starting out in all of this, and when you start a new business, you follow all the influencers because you think that they have your best interests at heart and they know everything. Um, and so I took all the courses and learned how to do everything and wanted to serve my clients well. And I realized that a lot of what was going on out there that they were telling you to do really wasn't working. Like it was showy and maybe it went viral, or it may help them sell all these courses because I supposedly made $1 million doing this, but it wasn't actually something that worked. And I realized that to work in integrity, I had to find something that worked. I couldn't, and I know that there have been people that have been frustrated with me and haven't worked with me because they're like, all I want is a big audience on TikTok. And I'm like, that's not what you need though. Like, you need the system to make this work. You need to figure out how to make this profitable. Like, I don't want you doing all this work. I want you to figure out how you're making money. And
Mhm.
I know of at least one person that was like, you don't understand. And I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But I think that there's a big, I know that in the end, we all have a mission, right? Like all of us were created for a reason, such a time as this. And it's not just the period of time that we live in, it's the gifts that we've been given, it's the opportunities that have opened. I never really pictured that this is what my life would be, but this is where God led me and the doors that He opened. And sometimes I'm like, why do I own a SaaS platform and do marketing strategy? Like, I don't understand, God, like what you were thinking. This wasn't my idea, but He's like, this is what I want you to do. Like this is what I gave to you. And then I was like, let's just find something else. And it's always like, no, this is where I put you. This is what I want you to do. And it's because, what I've come to realize is that because I've struggled with it really, I feel like I'm not a high tech person. Like I am not an influencer type. I don't need to be the star of attention, as far as marketing and stuff. But what He's placed on my heart is that I feel very strongly in having small businesses like local brick and mortars, family run businesses, businesses that, like we run small companies or teams or agencies. I think that that is so important to have. And when I say small, I don't mean like, they're only making $10,000. I mean, it's not like this huge conglomerate that owns everything and is going to buy everything out. These small businesses are what protect our freedom. They're what create legacies for families. They're what support communities. And when we look at when people get upset about Main Street dying, or, shifts in the market that hurt this sector or that sector, it's because of those ripple effects. It's really, everybody's like, oh, it's just nostalgia. You need to move forward. It's like, no, when when a Main Street dies, it ends like a heritage. It changes the whole legacy of the area. It changes family dynamics. And can you still hear me? I think
Yes, yes.
it froze for a minute.
You're getting a little frozen, but I can hear you.
Oh no, I think it froze. Okay, good. So it's so important for those missions to be fulfilled because there are people out there.
I can hear you. Oh no. You can hop back in. Hello, hello. I can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Test 1, 2.
Can you hear me now?
I can, but I don't see a video.
Oh boy, maybe it's just taking a while to hook up. Like it says that it's hooked up.
Yeah.
When I check the settings, it's not right.
Yeah.
But
I saw you on video when you first came on, and I couldn't hear you, and now I can hear you, but not see video.
oh my goodness. I don't know. It's not letting me change any of the settings, so I don't know what the problem is.
Let me make sure it's not on my end. It doesn't look like it is. Oh, somehow I just hold on. I think I put you backstage. Oh, I accidentally put you backstage and brought you back on, but that didn't change
Oh,
anything.
okay.
Yeah,
It's not
I clicked video on and off, and it's not changing anything.
It's weird because I can see my video
And you can see
and
me.
it says my microphone's working, and I can see you.
Okay. I guess worst case scenario is that we record the rest of this, and it's just an audio podcast and doesn't go to YouTube, or we cut the YouTube video short if it doesn't show up.
It
But
says it's uploading again, so I don't know if that's affecting it.
what's it saying?
It says it's like 52% uploading, so I don't know if that is.
Oh, it says 94% on my side for like the little purple box.
Yeah.
That's just uploading the video as we're recording.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know what to do.
I mean, we could.
I really want to get like, I feel like the first part was really good.
Yeah.
I'd really like to make sure we get a good second part. So because I really want to make good reels out of it.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand what's not working because, like, all the settings are set up and they say that they're working, so I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
Would
would you be open to make just scheduling 30 minutes next week to wrap it up?
Yeah. Let me see when I have some. Let's try to find a time that works for both of us.
Okay.
Because this week is kind of crazy.
And I think we're live right now. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.
Because we're just live.